Coding. Everybody seems to be doing it. It's the latest trend. But that's not my discovery. In fact, before I dive in, I'm going to start a little bit broader and talk about some history of something you're actually probably familiar with: alternative credentials. You've heard of trade schools or vocational schools, even 2-year colleges, but a new population has been attracted to a new option: online education, and they've become increasingly popular. But they're not new. Online education has actually been around for decades, since the early 70s. But in the past decade, a new term has arrived and gained popularity: MOOCs, massive online open courseware. While MOOCs have been pivotal to the education system, they're not the only type. There's actually 5 categories: certificate programs, work-based training, skills-based short courses, MOOCs, and competency-based programs. All of these share one thing in common: they teach you something and then guarantee that you have mastery or some level of skill to this recently acquired talent or skill. According to the US Department of Education, 3,000 for-profit organizations serve 670,000 students in this form of alternative credentialing. So, where do coding boot camps fit into all of this, and how did they even start? Well, similar to their online counterparts, such as Khan Academy, which started by Sal Khan just teaching his family through videos, the birth of coding boot camps started on Hacker News, where someone offered to teach 6 people how to code. And from there, it skyrocketed. Companies started forming. The coding bootcamp industry is no joke. There are now 95 in-person bootcamps, providers, and 13 online providers. In the past 5 years, the number of students has gone from 2,000 to 20,000, which make up a $240 million industry. So I guess the real question is, do they work? Recently, coding bootcamps have been under scrutiny. One, because more people have started turning to them, and they've become a question as to whether a lot of these students can handle the pressure of work after coming to projects. Is what they're learning actually sustainable? Second, are the graduation rates a lot of these bootcamps post. Many of them say and claim that they have a 99 or 98% job placement rate. But recently, the government has been cracking down and saying that a lot of these rates are inflated. And so today, and throughout this year, I've been trying to understand, what is that true rate? And who is that rate actually impacting? So I decided to look at a certain website where everyone who's trying to make a change in their profession goes to: LinkedIn. LinkedIn allows you to actually put your certificate or degree on your profile and let recruiters know that you're searching for a job. By looking at LinkedIn profiles, we were able to target people who actually wanted to use this new developed skill to help their professional degree and professional occupation. From these LinkedIn profiles, we were able to see where the person went for undergraduate, what they studied, and when. From there, we were able to see their first job and what role they took on. Then we looked at when they actually attended the coding bootcamp and what classes they took. After that, we looked at their job placement after the bootcamp and are looking to understand if there was any relevance between the coding bootcamp and the job they took. And so, an example of this is we have 2 tracks. First is someone who we call a technical degree. They went to a school where they studied computer science or graphic or user design, and they actually ended up in either a tech role or a tech firm, or maybe they didn't. And then they went to a coding bootcamp and studied full stack web development or UX and UI design, and then placed into a job. Was that job technical? Was it a tech job at a tech company? Was it a non-technical job at a tech company, or any permutation of those? A success is someone who took a non-technical job, went to a coding bootcamp, and then actually went to a technical job. But we're also looking at another track: people who didn't start out with those computer science degrees, people who actually had a non-technical job, then went to this coding bootcamp and acquired a technical job right out of the bootcamp. This is what we define as someone who's actually able to make a career change. And while we don't have the final results, we do have some preliminary data. For people with a technical undergraduate degree, they actually increased from 52% to 87% in our sample size to acquiring a tech role. For those with a technical undergraduate degree, about 48% of our sample started at a tech firm and 57% ended after a coding bootcamp. But what about with no technical degree? Well, this is actually where we see the greatest impact. For people who didn't start with a technical degree, only 7.5% started in a technical role, but 58% ended up in a technical role after the degree. And for tech firms, only around 18% started at a tech firm, but by the end of the coding bootcamp, 54% were at a tech firm. So I guess the answer to this question is, do they really work? Yeah, they do actually, but not as well as they claim to. So what does this mean, and what are the implications? The truth is, the implications lie in the opportunity this provides. As popularity rises, the accessibility goes beyond students that have bachelor's degrees. People who don't have access to expensive, highly accredited programs now have the opportunity to achieve the same means and the same outcomes as those that did. It's leveling the playing field, especially as this grows more traction and more support. Companies will continue to provide scholarships so that students can attend. Overall, coding bootcamps have been a great addition to the ecosystem, and I look forward to seeing where they grow and where the results of this paper go as well. Thank you.